It's the same link for Kusari and for. We just do that. Just 1 second. We'll break in the action. Scroll up to the link. There we go. Forward. Send. Okay. Here. And continue recording. Oh, never stop. Very nice. Oh, there you are, Mimi. Okay, let me do this. Okay. Yes. Okay. Of course you can.
No, but I don't really think what Yosef did was. Well, I mean, I don't know, but to me it sounds like I thought we're not supposed to really rely on Hashem. We're supposed to first find our own. So
very good. He's doing his ishtadlus. Okay, it's a very good question. It's a very well-known question, actually. I should say well-known. It's a question that's definitely asked. Maybe before, when we get to that week's parasha, I'll come with a detailed answer. The question was, why is it that Yosef got punished for saying to the Sar Mashkim, hey, when you get out of here, do me a favor, mention my name to Paro, just remind him, as opposed to turning to Hashem. Maybe, how do we know he didn't turn to Hashem also? I actually have a very, very far-fetched idea. It says at the very last pasuk, it says, "V'lo zachar Sar Mashkim et Yosef vayishkachehu," which means that Sar Mashkim did not remember Yosef when he went, vayishkachehu, and he forgot him. Why the double lashon? So Rashi said, because in the short term, when he first got out, he didn't remember it. Even after the long term, he forgot. I'd like to say, and it's really an indictment of Yosef, which is why I don't usually say it, but the Zachar Sar Mashkim and Yosef, that the Sar Mashkim did not remember Yosef, vayishkachehu, and Yosef forgot him. He left Hashem out of the equation in this one case. He went only for the human. He didn't dive into Hashem as well. Maybe. I'm not quoting anybody. It's my own maybe terrible thought. So I don't know. Okay, but yes.
Didn't they involve his father in order to be able to bring the body from Egypt?
Yes. So right. So the question Judy asks is, didn't they embalm the body so they could transport the body? Otherwise, the body would have had all kinds of problems just to stay along the way.
He would have turned to Hashem, and Hashem would have miraculously gotten involved.
Right. Hashem could have miraculously gotten involved, but this is a situation of doing something that apparently is not okay to do unless you have the permission of Hashem. And therefore, Hashem, he had to, and therefore he needed to get the okay. The Gemara tells us that it comes, for example, to Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe Rabbeinu did a few things without Hashem's permission. On some of them, Hashem said Yasher Koach. It's exactly the words are used. He didn't say Shkoyech. He said Kochacha Yishar. And on others, he got a slap on the wrist for them. Okay, so there are things that are done that, again, and this is the whole point here, that things that on the surface, like, okay, like, what's the big deal? Like, you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to do Yishtadlut and all. So that particular situation, I'll give you a more detailed answer at a different time, maybe when we get to that parasha.
I don't know, like, I don't think what Yaakov did with Dina. I mean, not that to me, it doesn't seem wrong, but like, to me, it's like, no, who wanted Yosef to take her?
Oh, okay.
Himself.
Right. So okay. So what's being asked now is that what's the big deal? The fact that Yaakov protected his daughter and didn't want her to be seen even by Esav. So Rav Shlomo Aviner, in his book, when he on Mesilat Yesharim, after all these names, after he gets to Chizkiyahu, he then makes a general statement. He says, as you read these, my dear reader, you're going to say to yourselves, I don't understand. This is like, what's the big deal with this? Or maybe that was a good thing to do. Just shows that we're not able to grasp Hashem's judgments and the way Hashem, quote unquote, thinks. Okay, so you just basically made his point, because we all feel that way in some of these cases. Very good. So for Yosef, because he had another reason why, or another example of kechut hase'ara, or being judged by a hair's breadth. Lefisha shama abdecha avinu v'shatak. When the brothers did not yet know Yosef was Yosef, and they referred to their father, also Yosef's father, as Avdecha, your servant, our father, and he didn't say anything. At that moment, he should have said something. Now, yes, we know if he revealed himself, that the whole plan could have fallen apart. Maybe it's still part of Hashem's son, but he could have made some kind of comment that would have at least negated that statement of Abdacha, like he's your father, you shouldn't talk. Like, I understand you're trying to give me respect, but chill. So whatever he could have said. Whether you hold, literally means to this one is his position, to this one is his position. In other words, what the exact reason is that then caused Yosef to end up being the one who died before his brothers. But one of these potential reasons is why, according to Midrash, is why he died before his brothers. He died younger. David HaMelech. David HaMelech, I'm going to send this in the group. Where is it? My own group. So David HaMelech was bringing the Aron to Ir David, the city he called after his own name. When he brought the Aron for the first time into Ir David, which was the second attempt, the first attempt didn't go very well. The second attempt, he did what we now today use as a basis for Haknasat Sefer Torah. Fire, dancing, and music, and passing out sweets. This is exactly what was done by David and his entourage when they brought the Aron to Ir David for the first time. Problem was that I'm jumping ahead. That's Michal. Okay, David. Sorry, I jumped too fast. Let's talk about David. David lefishe karali divrei Torah zmirot. The fact that David HaMelech referred to Torah as zmirot, or song, ne'enash, he was punished. Shenichshal bidvar Uzzah v'nit'arbeva simchato, and also because he was punished for what he did with Uzzah. I'll come back to that in a minute. As they say, circle back. I hate that expression. He had a problem as a result of that. Now, what's that first thing? What's about this zmirot thing? I want you to take a look at what I just sent in the group. I sent it in the Mesilat Yesharim group. And if you don't have it with you, your phone, you can listen along. This is from Rav Shlomo Aviner's book, Mesilat Yesharim, where it starts, the very first where I put a little arrow, it says Madua. Like, why was David punished? What happened? Ki kara le Torah zmirot, because he called the Torah zmirot when he said, Zmirot hayu li chukecha. Your rules, your laws, to me were song. Aval Torah eina zmirot. Torah is not song. Sha'ashwim, ta'anug. It's not about joy or enjoyment. Zoi ba'ayat doreno. This is the problem of our generation. Hatofesa Torah kechavaya estetit. That looks at Torah as an aesthetic kind of experience. Ani lo me Torah ki naim li, kef li lekayem mitzvot. Ani mitchaber. I keep Torah and mitzvot because it's enjoyable, because that's brings me happiness, like how I connect. Im ani mitchaber, ani mitkayem. If I feel connected, I'll keep it. Im lo, lo. If I don't feel it, I don't do it. Ani mechapeset ani ha'atzmi. I seek myself. I'm looking for me. Im ani motzei oto betosfot baruch haba. If I find myself, meaning I get joy out of learning Tosfot, great. Imlo, imeno motzei, etzorach. HaTorah ba'a lahosif li zmirot b'chai. The purpose of Torah is to bring joy to my life. Hargashat noam b'chayim. Yotzei, turns out, with that approach, she'eneni ovedet Hashem, I'm not serving God, ani ovedet atzmi, I'm serving myself. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of it, even though you can look at it when you want, but I heard a wonderful line one time. Someone said, as a teacher or speaker, he said, okay, tell me what food you like. And the kid said, I love pizza. So I said, no, you don't love pizza. You love yourself, and you want to give yourself pizza because you like it. You don't love the actual pizza. So there's perspective. So the problem with David calling the Torah Zmirot was, like for you or I, again, no big deal. But for David to have done that, that was not a good thing. The story with Uzzah, if you're not familiar with, I'm not going to get into it, just you could look it up. The story of Uzzah and Achio, who had put the Aron, is the first time they're trying to bring it to Yerushalayim or to Ir David, they put it on a wagon, and then instead of it started to slip and went to catch it, because you can look it up yourselves. Michal, I want to get to Michal, okay, because this is where I started jumping ahead before. So what happened was, during this Haknasat Sefer Torah, so to speak, but the bringing of the Aron to Ir David. So David did something mechaker. He was doing cartwheels. Now he's not dressed in a pair of Levi's He's dressed in a cloak, whatever they would wear at that time period. And Michal calls him out. And he said, "Ma nechbada," like, what? Look how you debased yourself, and you fly around like some, I forgot the word she used. I don't think it's quoted here. I forgot what the word is. It's some very, very derogatory statement. Like, how could you do something like that? Michal, she gave him musar for how he danced outside before the Aron. That she died in either she died in childbirth or she died without children. It's two different opinions, but in any case, she is called to task for something like this, but why? We actually learn there's another statement elsewhere that tells us that when a person is in front of a Sefer Torah, when they're doing Haknasat Sefer Torah, for example, and trying to show their joy, that you have to understand that you can't be doing stupid things, but you should do whatever you can to bring joy to people to enhance this. I mentioned somebody the other day, you talk about Kechut HaSe'ara, and they were really surprised at this statement. Take a Sefer Torah that is being written, and it's down to the last letter. The last word is Yisrael, the last letter is Alam. The Sefer Torah is completely done. You've done the Haknasat Sefer Torah. So maybe others here have as well, that the Sefer Torah doesn't have the Kedushat Sefer Torah at all. I mean, it still has the Kedusha because it has Hashem's name and everything, but the Kedusha of the Sefer Torah, it's not there yet. Nothing. As soon as the Sofer makes that Lamed, or whatever the last letter is, everything changes instantly. It now has Kedushat Sefer Torah 100%, can be used for laning, can be used for whatever it is. There's a tiny little switch. Right? If Shabbat is over, it's 6:52. And at 6:50 and a half, I turn the lights on. Well, there's only 30 seconds left of Shabbat. Doesn't make a difference. We are, without realizing it, we say Hashem judges Kechut HaSe'ara, but we live in a world of Kechut HaSe'ara in Judaism as well, in many things, right? 6 hours is 6 hours, or 3 hours, whatever it is, between Chalavi and Basari, when Shabbat starts, when you can eat, up until when you can do this, when's the fast over, when it should. All these things, where do you put the mezuzah? Is it, you put it down here, you put it up here. This is how we live. We think, how does God do that? Well, first, he's God wants. Last example is Chizkiyahu Melech. In Sefer Melachim, which if you have learned it, we've been learning it, we just finished a little while ago in the class I give. But if you learn Sefer Melachim, it's a very tragic Sefer. Once you get past Parak, let's say Yud, Melachim Aleph, it's the Sefer Bamidbar of Tanakh, of Nevi'im Rishonim. What do I mean by that? Right when you get, we're not at Sefer Bamidbar, but I have two kids I'm teaching in the beginning of Bamidbar, so that's why I'm saying we're at Bamidbar. At the very beginning of Sefer Bamidbar, everything's on a high, right? We got the Torah, we have the Mishkan, we have the rules and regulations, we've learned all about Kedusha, we're talking about the Kohanim and Leviim and the Yisraelim and everything that's going to happen, and there's the counting of Am Yisrael, the establishment of an army, who's going to do what, what's the job of the different families of Shevet Levi, and carrying taking apart and carrying the Mishkan, and they're going to the land of Israel. Now, you and I all know that doesn't end right? They end up sending the spies, and unfortunately it's downhill from there. But think about the whole Sefer after that. Between that and Korach and Bilam and Pinchas and the Zimri and Cosby, but it's like one tragedy after another. It's a sad Sefer when you think about it, because of all the things that could have been. Right? Someone once said the best proof that the Torah is Min HaShamayim is that no human would write the Torah that would make us look so bad in one book. I don't know if that's true, but okay. In any case, what happened with Chizkiyahu Melech? So in Sefer Melachim, the Jews are, at this point, there's a galut. There is an exile that takes place. There's the northern kingdom and the tribe of Binyamin Yehuda, basically the general greater Jerusalem area. The 10 tribes of the northern kingdom are in galut, have been sent away in exile, and approximately after 130 years, the rest of Am Yisrael is sent into galut as well. During that time period, that 130 years, there are a number of kings, some of whom are really bad kings, and some are actually very good. Chizkiyahu was a wonderful king. He could have been the Melech HaMashiach according to some opinions. Could have been, except he made a couple of mistakes. But what did he do that was really tragic as far as the din, rules of Hashem and the way Hashem judged him. Chizkiyahu, what was his mistake? He took the king of Bavel and he brought him into this warehouse and showed him all the gold and silver and copper and his massive amounts that he had. Of course, they end up getting taken. But what was he doing? What was the big deal? Imagine you go to the Knesset, or you go to the White House, you go to 10 Downing?
Yeah.
10 Downing, wherever the prime minister's office, and they show you, look at this. I want to show you these cool things, that various gifts from different countries. What's the big deal? So for, again, you and me, okay, but he was doing it more like showing off. And this was stuff that was to be used eventually for Bedek Habayit, to repair the Beit HaMikdash, or whatever it was supposed to be. Not okay. He got punished for that. Then because of that, and therefore his children, her sons, ended up becoming eunuchs in the palace of the king of Bavel. It's an interesting punishment. Many other situations. So again, the point of all this here is that, and I want to come back to what you said before, that in some of these, it's pretty obvious. We can understand why, okay, he did something that for you and I, but others, the situation is like, I still don't get it. Why would he be punished for it? And exactly the point, that we don't understand how Hashem's judgments are. And it's going to talk about that. What I want to do, let me just see. One of the things that the Ramchal does is he goes into I don't want to say a long run-on sentence, but a kind of a what's it called, a train of thought that goes on and on and on and on until he makes his point. Does it a few times. So if I start this next paragraph now, we're going to stop in the middle. It's not going to be good. So what I'm going to do is just mention a couple of things, and then we're going to stop. When we learn, and I think I may have mentioned this when we first started Mesilat Yesharim. When we learn Mesilat Yesharim, it's not just that we sit here from 9 to 9:30, 9:45. That's not his point. And if that's the point, that's good, but it's only a little drop in the bucket. It's something you should take away with you. So what is the takeaway from today? I don't want to be a tzaddik. That's what it sounds like. Why would I want to be a tzaddik? God's really going to beat me over the head. I blinked my eyes the wrong way, and boom, that's it. And there's one more problem. Where's the rachamim? This is all din. This is all stark black and white judgment. Where's the rachmanis from Hashem? That's exactly what we'll talk about next week. Bezrat Hashem. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a nice day.